What's up, family? It's a shirt I got from a comedy show a year or so ago. I forgot the name of the comedian. He had some merchandise for sale. I thought this was funny. Bought a couple of them after the show. Well, might have been a Lavelle Crawford concert, and he was one of the opening acts. I forgot his name. I would like, what was it, D.L. Hughley? No, it wasn't Hughley. It was Lavelle Crawford. But I wish I could remember his name because I would go see him as a main event. I haven't made the video on this channel in about a year. Reason being, I lost access to the account with, my phone got destroyed and I didn't have my password saved. Got a different phone, new number. Left that kind of where it was at. Of course, with me and the wife being extremely busy with work and life. And purchasing a home. So I started another account called Conscious Thought 101. I made, when one of my videos, it was about Trump dissolving the Department of Education. So this one person commented, it's unconstitutional to mess with the Department of Education. Department of Education was created in 79 and 80 with Reagan. This wasn't way back in the 1800s when the South was purposely defunding public schools for blacks. It wasn't that, no. So the guy that commented, name was it Michael P.J. Coffee? And I know it's a P.J. Coffee chain, and they state they're from Louisiana, but they're up in the Midwest also. So I responded to it that amendments were added to the Constitution. If anybody don't know, you go back through history, just look up the Constitution and what the amendments were for. So I finally get full access to this page. And I'm going through the comments, and it's Michael P.J. Coffee, who I was going back and forth with on the video, Reparations for Slavery or Jim Crow. Actually, it's both Michael Pajama Coffee, municipal and federal Einstein. This ill-natured misfit seemed to have found me on another channel. Where do you come from? Are you like facial recognition stalking? To find me from a channel I haven't posted on in a year to a new channel I created, and he's right there. Are you the feds? Are you a bot? Personally, I think he's more than a bot, closer to some type of federal agent. Who really finds me from this channel to the one I created? Who does that? And the channel got 2 subscribers. It ain't that old. So I responded to one of his last comments on the video because he was being obtuse with the whole concept and the history and deflecting. So he responded back with some vocabulary word that nobody uses. I mean, literally. What is it? Vacuous? Seriously. Meaning unintelligent comment or deflect, and plus he comment deflection notice. So I had to go back through his comments to refresh myself on the timeline with me and him going back and forth. But just because he's a stalker and a malicious misfit with an inaccurate aim, let's see if I can start from the beginning. He wrote, "Do I hold everyone equally responsible, even myself?" And let's note the retrograde in the comments. I'm not even going to answer this power crap comment, "Do I hold everyone responsible, even myself?" Watch the video. You know exactly what I said. Went through the history of Jim Crow and racial mob violence. Because when the subject of reparations is talked about, a lot of white people say it happened so long ago, forget about it. That's why I came with the concept, reparations for Jim Crow and racial mob violence. Since the government refused to prosecute or compensate our ancestors that were destroyed, their business, properties, and lost their lives, to the point they couldn't even rebuild. Lynchings. So, hold everyone equal, even myself. How am I? You know what? I said I'm going to answer this shit. That's what we're dealing with. Do you claim people are victims of events that didn't involve them? Punishing the innocent for the sake of non-victims. Okay, this victim part. So, that's a phrase trap. We done heard the term victim mentality. So if I bite into that, yes, I'm a victim and I'm not a non-victim and this, that, third, that's a word trap for a more Lord IQ debate. But I gotta set the record straight. Okay, events. We are byproduct receivers of events through history here. If your ancestors owned a business, and because some white person didn't like the way you were running your business by being successful running it right, and wanted you to either sell it to him for dirt cheap or sell him your product for less than what you paid for, or at the cost of what you paid for, that'll get you lynched. Our ancestor, great sister Ida B. Wells, documented lynchings to the letter. In return, when she had that printing shop, the newspaper business in Tennessee, she was in New York, and the article came out, they raised the building and the business, tore it up, because she told the truth about what they did. And the sources she used came from white newspapers, white journalists, about blacks being lynched. It wasn't about crime. It wasn't about rape. Those were excuses, just like slavery. Excuses, how they used the Bible for that. But I'm going to get into that later on down the line. So, if your upward movement, upward mobility, economically and educationally, is stunted, killed in the process of your ancestors going through mob racial violence, witnessing mass murders of their family and neighbors because some white person had a bitch fit and created a lie, was being the result of mass murder and property and business destruction. So, if they believed in the Constitution so much, why wasn't it taken to court, whatever lie it was? It's that civilized or uncivilized Michael P.J. Coffee. Victims of the lowest standard of public education, and a lot of times some teachers were great in public schools. Some weren't. But if a child cannot read and they're not labeled as special ed and they're consistently pass through school and high school and graduate, who failed? You're the government institution, public schools. Who failed? On the parents, if the parents are not educated, if they don't know how to read, if they're not gifted in teaching with just the basic nurturing of the child, they send them to school to do what they cannot do. And it's government mandated that your child go to school. That's a victim. Did that parent have a genealogy of coming from having a ancestor that was a descendant of forced migration through racial murder and a loss of income? That is technically what you would say is a victim. Bird brain, Michael Pajama Coffee, and what the events that involve punishing the innocent. Who's innocent? Who's innocent, Michael P.J. Coffee? And that's the default argument is tax dollars, our tax dollars. Innocent, innocent. Innocent. The federal government sanctioned slavery. And I bet your smart behind didn't know this. The Department of Labor? No, the Treasury Department. The Treasury Department. Way back then, when those planters, owners were selling those bales of cotton that they got from ill-gotten goods by free human labor, and they paid that tax on it, that's still in the Department of Treasury records, all the way back then. So, in that case, the names of the slaves that were purchased, would they be there also? Who's the victim? Harvard University. You ain't comment on that video, did you? When they had that committee put together in 2019 to track the lineage of slaves that the Harvard University founders owned and sold from 1655 to the 1800s. Who's a victim? They found 300 slaves that we know about as published, and over 100 descendants of those slaves still living. Who's a victim? Michael Pajama Coffee. Stay off my page, Joe Hayden behind. You know what? I'm going to say a prayer for you. In the name of white Jesus. Oh my God, white Jesus, white Jesus. White Jesus, come get your folks. Because they out of line. Their focus is off. They need to focus on painting pictures of you and stand on the street corner or at the crossroad in the country preaching your gospel, not ours. White Jesus, come get this MF off my page. Now, I don't have a problem with white people chiming in, but don't twist the narrative to make it a victim, non-victim. I get hurt specifically. That's why they are putting research teams together, even in California, in Detroit, in Evanston, Illinois. Even though Evanston was not a slave city, but they had laws that directly impacted the education and the upward movement of wealth through property purchases. When they do these studies, like in California, they find out, oh man, it was worse than we thought. When that journalist went to Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Texas, Georgia, and put up those records after the Civil War from the 1800s to up to World War II about slavery still existing through convict leasing, and those black people would hop a ride on a boxcar train, get off, go to the next town, and they'll get arrested. Oh, you broke the law. Okay, fine. The penalty for white people were 5 days in jail. The penalty for black people, oh, you got a $25 fine. It was back in 1895, was a lot. In 1895, 1910, whatever, World War I. So, to pay this fine off, or the sheriff, oh, I'll pay the fine, but you have to go work it off in a coal mine. And there was an over 90% chance that you would die in a coal mine. They even had a coal mine built next to the jail because when they transferred them from the jail to mine coal with the white workers, what is this? With the white workers, the black people would escape. So they got tired of that. Oh, and the white coal miners would help them escape because that free labor was taking money out of their pocket. So y'all go ahead on so we get our money because they was taking money out their pocket. So they got a bright idea. They would build a jail right in the coal mine. So wasn't no escaping. You was still in jail mining coal, limestone, railroad, or you could go back to a plantation. Literally, yeah, that's on record. The case is on record with the sheriffs, governors, still on record. The journalists couldn't believe it. Like, they still got this, but nobody thought to look. Because the subject came up about why black people didn't advance after slavery, like second generation refugees. Yeah, because they were getting locked up and killed. That's why. Because Negroes were cheap back then. Price of life was worth nothing. So they'd work on the death, give me another one. Work on the death, give me. Or if somebody don't want to work, they'd shoot them, beat them. Sometimes to death. People are victims of events that then what type of logic in comparison to history of us in America, what sense does that make to even post that? You see, Trump is canceling money going out. U.S. aid, tariffs, cutting in excess of federal workers' jobs, take the payout. He's pulling all this money back to America that been going out for decades. And Biden had a blank check for Ukraine. So he posted, my response to tax money, I posted worried about Ukraine. That's like reparations, because if they could be fast-tracked over here, over everybody else, get their money and housing Where do you think the housing is coming from? It will have to be Section 8 because they're coming over here. They're not going to have a job. How are they going to eat? EBT. And that Section 8, once they get there, it ain't going nowhere. That's a form of reparations for somebody that should have went to another European country. When you think? So they even found, since that video was posted, Ukrainian money and weapons going to different organizations over the world. And I believe it was the Netherlands or some Scandinavian country where this biker gang received weapons from the U.S. that was supposed to go to Ukraine. Believe it was Boko Haram or somebody else in Nigeria received weapons from America except for Ukraine. So apparently this is one big blank check in funds, multi-billions of dollars. I mean, multi-billions of dollars. And weapon sales. Weapons. There's another incident where it was classified. It was two of them. Two other incidents that was classified as a large weapon sales. Undercover transfer of weapons for monetary gain. When you go through all the jargon, peel the onion back, Benghazi and the Fast and Furious with the guns going to Mexico. It's a weapon sale. It's supposed to be some ATF investigation, but it was a weapon sale. They got busted. So, Michael Pajama Coffee. Let's see. Double check Ukraine reparations or funding until, whatever. Okay. So, I think the victim thing was the main comment. He asked me, do I feel this and that and other, whatever. I'm not for punishing the innocent, but a lot of people are. They already did. And they try to do it on a daily basis until they get checked. So, victims, descendant of victims. When the police kill an unarmed black man or woman, to start with, their training does not justify the death of an unarmed individual, whether by gunshot, stun gun, or physical asphyxiation, physical restraining of breath, which everybody knows leads to death. Choke somebody hard enough, long enough, they're going to die. Does their family get paid? Yes or no? Pajama Coffee. Michael Pajama Jam Coffee. PJ. PJ. Hey, PJ. You hear me? Don't turn it off now. No. You can kick the hornet nest. Don't turn it off now. PJ. Pajama Jam Coffee. What flavor you like? I might buy you one. But do they get paid? Yes or no? So, punish the innocent. Should Native Americans still receive stipends? Yes or no? Were they involved? Were they murdered or had biological warfare implemented on them? They're still alive. Should they get paid? By your standards and philosophy of reparations. On your first comment, you said, just find out what it is and just take it. Glory hound. This is the process of taking it. Where do you come from? Who taught you how to think? That's what I said. White people went out in black spaces on the internet. I said that on the page when you commented on the Department of Education. Why are white people in black spaces saying irregular, retrograde comments? You say one thing, I and others are in the process of even bringing it to light. Some people are directly involved politically with research, fact checking. And, oh, just look at it and just take it. And shut up. Just shut up. Shit, you don't like what I'm talking about, bypass the page. You attracted to me or something? I hope not. Go. As far as the Bible being justified for slavery, black people, even though the Hebrews say they descendants of Shem, and then Japhet's supposed to be the father of Caucasians, Hamites are considered cursed, Canaanites cursed. So, as far as the justification, the way the Bible been rewritten over time, Canaanites, what's under, if you ever study Bible, I threw mine away. Because I'm not indoctrinated by religious fallacy. Under the Hamites and Canaanite nations is Cush, Egypt, Phoenician. And for some people to say Phoenicians were considered Canaanites, go to the story of Jezebel in the Bible. The book of, I think it's the book of Kings. I think so, I ain't read it in a long time. But King Ahab and his wife Jezebel. Ahab supposed to be Israelite. Jezebel was a Phoenician princess in the story. And Phoenicians were known for worshiping different deities, but she was a real evil woman. But in church, and black people get so far away to the origin of the story in the Bible, it wasn't no red dress and she wore red and lipstick was a 304. She was an evil individual. Sell me that house. Nope. Go kill him. All right, now it's mine. And that was the story of the 100 prophets hiding in the caves, 50 in one cave, 50 in another, because she was killing God's prophets and all this and that. And she ended up dying. She fell out the window, died, and horses ran over her body and dogs ate her. Ahab, he died, I think, in battle by an arrow or spear or something like that. So, in Revelations, which speaks of Jezebel's spirit, I don't know how these black folks run around with this 304 terminology. She was an evil sociopath, a murderous sociopath. That's what she was. Nothing about red dress, nothing about red lipstick and no 304-ish. You know what I'm saying? So, with that Canaanite curse fallacy in the Bible, that was a justification for enslaving black people. It was always an excuse. It went from you're savages, we're civilizing you, but they're going to walk you 200 miles. You're going to walk over all your dead relatives and neighbors while you chained up. And they beating on you for not moving quick enough to the coast, coming out of Central Africa, Angola, to the coast. Everybody were not from Sierra Leone. That's where the port was at. We cut that loud. Arab slave trade, same thing. They look at us and their arrogance, and Arabs' arrogance, we're looked down upon. Even though the Moors were black when they invaded Spain. And that's 700 years ago, some of them come out as Berbers. Regardless. That's another topic, the Berbers. That's another topic somebody else can elaborate on. Because being mixed race, to me, don't make someone all the way black. If they look not black, I'm not looking at them as black. That's just a side note, different subject. So, they were supposed to Christianize us, teach us how to be civilized, and make us into upstanding, fine, religious, God-fearing Christians. Because in the Bible it said we curse. And I was researching that before I made this video. And did I write that down? Black man wrote a book about the curse of Ham in the Bible. I forgot the name of the book, but the point is, this same individual wrote a second book, but he put a link up about, it's a website. I didn't write it down, but I think it's called Colored or something like that. The Southern Baptist Church, the whole organization, and I think it could have been 2017, wrote a decree denouncing the curse of Ham. So, if the Bible is supposed to be the written word of God, there's a lot of contradictions in there. If the Old Testament say, Negro, you curse, you black because you curse because you're black, how could they now write a decree abolishing that if it's the word of God? Note the hypocrisy. And for the Hebrews, descendants of Shem, to white folks, when they crack open their Bible, you a cursed Canaanite. You still cursed because the Bible said so. There's somebody else in the Bible that was teased by his brother and sister-in-law. I think it was Abraham. He married a Cushite woman. It's Numbers 12. He married a Cushite woman, and his brother and sister-in-law teased him. You know, everybody knows Cushite was black. But it's the thing. The kingdom of Cush and Egypt. They tell you they curse Canaanites, but Cush is modern-day Sudan, Egypt area. It's black people. So they put the curse in there for you not to even research your own history. Because grave sites were found of Nubian Kush culture practices that predated the founding of Egypt. That's where Egypt got the customs from. They had a big grave site discovery, I think it was 09 through 1911. I have to elaborate on another video because I have the information written down. Now, you know what? Let's see if I can find it. There ain't no telling what type of video I get into. Grafton Elliott Smith recording cards of individuals found on burial sites in Egypt. In the Sudan before the Egyptians made the dam and flooded the area. 1907 to 1911 excavations. They found 150 Nubian cemeteries. Now, when a researcher that in more recent times, she went to the museum looking for artifacts and they were reportedly lost. How you find all this and lose it? How? That's what I'm talking about, the history. But we supposed to learn about European history. Yes, we're hated that bad, they don't even want us to know our history. Just stay in that Bible. And you see people with Nefertiti's tattooed on them, aunts tattooed on them, and they run around like a mentally chicken with their head cut off, still talking about Jesus. If you go that far and put a Nefertiti on your arm, you should not be coming back from that, or with an ankh on your arm talking about Jesus is God. Jesus. You think they got some of the stuff from the Bible from? Stuff, the whole philosophy, the spirituality predate Christianity in the Nile Valley. So, 150 Nubian cemeteries, more than 20,000 graves, 7,000 graves still had skeletal remains. 7,000. And what the lady, either scientist, archaeologist, or researcher, what she found were the cards that George Grafton, Elliot Scott recorded, and he had an assistant also. Douglas Derry, that documented everything they saw in those years of excavation, because the Arabs were building a dam to flood out Sudan. And if you look at the structures carved out the mountain, temple, pictures of temples, pharaohs, their family, the one god, Ra, and they didn't worship the sun. It was the power of the sun. You get light energy, sound energy, heat energy. The Greeks named the essence of the Most High as gods. Like Nun being the firmament, sky and water, Ptah being the land, and so on and so forth. Because they didn't fully understand. They wanted to make it make sense to them. So, and they found there was another Nubian burial site. Had the articles from the New York Times. I had it up. I got to dig and find it. Might have to subscribe to even go back, but it was discovered in the 50s. But the story didn't gain traction until the 60s. And that grave site was smaller, but however, it proved that the Nubian dynasties existed about 12, 15 generations before Egypt was founded. It was in the same burial formation as the Egyptians did. History hidden. So why I know I learned about Columbus in grammar school. Why I shouldn't even, you learn about Columbus in grammar school. You hear about Black History Month, we were slaves, then it's MLK. And Madam C.J. Walker, Harriet Tubman. That's it. We gotta learn about ancient Rome, ancient Greeks, but not ancient Nubians. Very unfair, imbalanced of documentation of history. So, Yeah, back to the curse of black people. Does that sound cursed? We were the first ones using antibiotics. Found that in skeletons. Cataract surgery. Astronomy. So, another verse in the Bible, Song of Solomon. I ain't even bothered to look at the exact verse because I went off memory. I just wanted to see what book was it in. Where it stated, black but comely. Black but comely. Black but comely. It's direct separation. If it's written as black, and especially for dark-skinned people, especially dark-skinned women, because they seem to take it the hardest. If the definition of black was not ugly, why would it be a but before the word comely, which means attractive? If black did not mean ugly, why is it a but before the word comely, which means attractive? If black did not define as ugly, dark skin was not considered ugly, why is the word but directly before comely, which means attractive? I gotta take a drink on this. And you think about skin bleaching, cosmetic surgeries. That is poisoning oneself. Mommy makeovers. And for a man to encourage that is beyond belief. To my realm of knowledge and understanding, my philosophy. If you stuck around through the pregnancy, married or unmarried, and you committed to raising that baby every day, you love her enough, she was attractive enough for you to create a baby with her. Or do you all really know each other? Do you love yourself? Do you love her enough to say, no, baby, you fine the way you are. You don't need that. Man, if you want to lose weight, we can work out together, go for a walk, change our diet, but that under the knife. And basically, I made a baby with you before what your booty high was. With your breasts, how they were. Showed you public affection. What is it called? PDA? Public display of affection. All this before the surgery. So, do you really know the woman before she butchers her physical and her soul? And the black is ugly would prevent a dark-skinned woman from loving herself. Could it lower the self-esteem of a dark-skinned man? Possibly. And with fair-skinned women would tease and ridicule the dark-skinned woman, which, well, I believe dark-skinned women look at light-skinned women with some type of disdain. I believe it puts a psychological scar in there from childhood of just being called ugly, black and ugly, dark-skinned, or whatever, which is wrong. It is egregious, an egregious form of bullying. It's psychological, all mental, but it's in the Bible. You don't question the Bible, you don't question the preacher. You don't do that. Only God can handle a preacher. You can't tell a preacher you wrong. Nope. You're going to read out that Bible with confidence. And two, you're going to marry his mistress too in the church. For real. How many pastors, they so biblically educated, but they married to their mistress? He ain't start the church. He ain't start the church with his mistress. He met her along the way. Told his wife, get gone. You know, this is something new. I like new stuff. I need a 304. You ain't no 304 when you get gone. Catch the analogy? There should have to be a 304 to do that. Yeah, how old she is. Along with other false stories. But that's enough for right now. I gotta get into other things. It was nice chatting with y'all again. Have a good one.